Good morning and welcome to the Board of Commissioners meeting for November 2nd. We will begin as we always do with the moment of silence. Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now we have public comment. Any takers? We're good. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes of our October 19th meeting.
Make a motion to approve those minutes as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the October 19th meeting minutes. Any questions or comments regarding the motion, deletions or additions? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same signs. So moved.
Oh, you got a hand in the back.
Oh,
Yep, I'm John Rowan, and I apologize, I didn't hear you, you're calling, public comment. Excuse me. I've been a visitor to the, in the jail for, sometimes through the, Prison Society. And in that position, I have, not heard objections to the way things are running there. And that's, I think, is a big change from years ago. And I think, and I mentioned this so that to offer the credit to you for making decisions in that regard. However, what I have been hearing is a great deal of anxiety on the part of the people in the prison. Over what has happened.
which side of the prison? When you say people, which?
And because they have not had had much time with their public defenders. And I mention this now because I understand you will be deciding on the funding for public defenders in the afternoon. And so I urge you to do with them what you have done for the jail.
Thank you. Sal?
Okay, we had receipts on 10/31 and 11/1 of $1,004,590.94. Brought us to a total cash of $2,980,818.69. Our expenditures this week are $2,163,962.51. Our distributed tax claim is $40,839.42. Leaves us a balance of $776,016.76.
Motion.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report subject to audit.
Second. Been moved and seconded that we approve the report as presented. Any questions or comments for Treasurer Neely? Not all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same signs. So moved. Thank you. Good morning. Introduce yourself and proceed.
Michelle Snavely, Director of Human Resources. Under Personnel Transactions, Resignations and Terminations, Dixie Diaz, part-time meal transporter, Area Agency on Aging, resignation effective October 27th. Danette Martinez, Office Support 2, Domestic Relations, termination effective October 26th. William Cascadden, full-time correctional officer at the jail, termination effective the last working day, October 19th. Shanice Marrero, full-time developmental assistant at Renova, job abandonment effective October 30th. Cassandra Miller, casual call developmental assistant at Renova, resignation effective November 8th. And Stephen Nathan's casual part-time office support one in the sheriff's office, resignation effective October 26th.
Make a motion to approve the resignations, terminations.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Leaves of absence, Adrian Laser, Area Agency on Aging, 2-week paid leave of absence effective October 18th with an expected return date of October 30th.
Make a motion to approve a leave of absence for Adrian Laser.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve that LOA. Any questions regarding the motion? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Under changes of status, transfers, and promotions, I have 3 motions. The first to approve the recommendation from District Attorney Pierre Hess-Graff to remove 1 interpreter pay stipend from the District Attorney's office budget and move it to the central booking budget effective immediately.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions regarding the motion or the request of DA Graff? Any questions? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
The following 2 motions are to clarify language in the recent collective bargaining agreements that were approved. The first is to approve the memorandum of understanding entered into by and between the County of Lebanon and Teamsters Local 429 on behalf of the county's employees in the Social Services Unit. It is agreed that Article 37 wages of the CBA shall be amended to provide clarifying language regarding how the annual percentage increases shall be applied to the wage charts effective with the described first pay periods for the years 2025, 2026, and 2027. The employee shall move up 1 step on the salary schedule, which equals a partial percent increase plus an increase in the salary schedule of the remaining percentage difference to equal the agreed upon total percent increase designated for each year.
I'll make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding as presented for social services.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions regarding this particular motion? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Second memorandum of understanding is entered into by and between the County of Lebanon and Teamsters Local 429 on behalf of the county employees and the court-appointed professionals unit, outlining the uniform allowance payment schedule. With the first full payment in November of each year, a uniform allowance shall be paid to each full-time probation officer in the amount of $175 towards the purchase of their uniform items approved by the department head. Any employee hired after the pay period in November of each year, when the uniform allowance is paid, shall receive the uniform allowance in the next November if they are still employed as a full-time probation officer.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this uniform allowance with regard to the CBA. Any questions or comments? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Jessica Lopez, change of status from full-time central booking agent and central booking to full-time central booking agent / interpreter at the rate of $16.01 per hour with $1,500 annual interpreter pay effective November 13th. Alyssa Unks, transfer from admin / enforcement rotate assistant 2 in domestic relations to secretary C in the district attorney's office at the rate of $1,038.91 biweekly effective November 13th. Melissa Marshall, transfer from program coordinator in Renova to ID program specialist 1 at MHIDEI at the rate of $1,817.40 biweekly effective November 13th. Hillary Escobar changes status from general clerk C in the clerk of courts to part-time court clerk in the clerk of courts at the rate of $12.96 per hour effective November 13th. David Julio changes status from part-time court clerk in the clerk of courts to general clerk C in the clerk of courts at the rate of $907.67 biweekly effective November 13th.
I'll make a motion to approve the changes of status transfers and promotions.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any questions regarding the motion? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Moving on to other transactions, I have a motion to approve the recommendation of Christine Hartman, Administrator of Community Action Partnership Program, to eliminate the full-time social services director position and a part-time homeless assistant manager position to create 1 new full-time housing case manager position effective immediately. This position is 100% funded.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve this request by Director Hartman of CAP. Any questions regarding the motion? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Children and Youth would like to hire Amir Aga as a fiscal technician at the rate of $1,549.75 biweekly effective November 6th. Children and Youth would like to hire Rebecca Montalvo as a caseworker one at the rate of $1,562.16 biweekly effective November 13th. President Judge Tilwalk would like to hire Mary Rife as a judicial secretary at the rate of $1,347.89 biweekly effective October 23rd. Department of Emergency Services would like to hire Wade Aki as training and logistics officer at the rate of $1,926.92 biweekly effective December 11th. President Judge Tilwalk would like to hire Constance Brett as a probation aide at the rate of $1,169.52 biweekly effective November 6th. The sheriff would like to hire Matthew Rothgeber as a full-time deputy sheriff at the rate of $1,186.03 biweekly effective November 6th. And treasurer would like to hire Jane Sanger as an accounting clerk C at the rate of $1,257.23 biweekly effective November 6th.
Make a motion to approve those other transactions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Moving on to salary board, motion to approve all transactions previously read plus the following. Kevin Farmer, longevity payment corporal at the jail, a one-time payment of $1,500 effective November 16th. Aaron Ayala and Tyra Real, both longevity payments, both full-time correctional officers at the jail, both receiving one-time longevity payments of $500, both effective November 16th. And I have a salary board motion to approve an increase in salary from some non-union positions and accordingly an increase in employee salaries who hold those positions in the Area Agency on Aging, Children and Youth, Drug and Alcohol, and MHIDEI agencies as set forth on the attached department listings.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve those salary board transactions. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. So moved. Thank you.
Morning. Well, good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks. Like deja vu.
Morning. If you'd like to introduce yourselves and then you may proceed.
Sure. Audrey Fortna, Director of Probation Services.
John Shaw with Probation Services and Criminal Justice Advisory Board.
We're here to present two different things. I'll go first with my presentation, if that's okay.
Mhm.
I'm here to talk to you about Youth Advocate Program, the Community Treatment Center, which is part of our juvenile treatment court. As you're all aware, we have been experiencing a detention crisis in Pennsylvania for several years. As a result of that, the courts and probation have worked and collaborated with outside treatment providers in the community to kind of develop our own resource in county for when we are unable to utilize detention for the youth that need detention. The juvenile treatment court was developed and has been pretty successful. Everything was created and put together in 21, and we started in January of 2022, I believe. Youth Advocate Program is a large part of the juvenile treatment court. When I say that, I mean that the community treatment center is their location. And so other outside treatment partners come into that facility to provide services. So we have YAP working with Empower the Mind, Presley Bridge. They're all working under the roof of the community treatment center. Now, all of those services are covered under our needs-based budget. So we're very fortunate in that aspect. However, the way they do billing was changed this year. They were required to take a look at how they're providing services and they're able to bill on individual services that are provided. When they took a look at that, they determined that they would be able to serve a minimum of 4 people, 4 youth, in order to stay in business and maintain the services that are provided. On average, we have between 5 to 7 youth at any given time. We've never gone below that 4 threshold. But I have to tell you that because we have no other alternative, because of the detention and the residential treatment issues, I would like to put what I'm considering insurance in place, so that we can help if by some chance we would dip under that 4 participant number, that we would have money in our budget to fill that void and pay for that spot until we got the numbers back up. Because of our detention issue, last year you very graciously permitted us to participate in the regional detention agreement. We were anticipating 2 beds. That second bed never materialized, nor do I expect it to anytime in the near future anyway. So I have reduced our $48,000 budget from last year to $24,000 for this year. And we have spent a lot less than what was anticipated. What I'd like to do is reappropriate the other $24,000 for a line item for the community treatment center in my budget to use only if needed. Again, I don't anticipate any issues, but the thought of possibly losing that option is the lack of options we have for our kids.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Thank you.
Seems like a very prudent measure to take. Any questions regarding the motion for Audrey?
Yes.
Yes.
So, Audrey, this YAP treatment center, community treatment center, is it only Lebanon County kids and the one that you're working with?
Yes,
So they've got to have 4.
correct.
And if you go to 3, for example, you've got to,
We
Either-
would pay for 1,
right.
correct.
What is their max? Is it 7 or 8 or 15 or what?
I want to say 13 or 14.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
And is it residential?
No, so they are the kids are transported there, and the hours are 4 to 8 during the week. They're fed there, they get assistance with their homework, they receive all types of services. The drug and alcohol provider comes on site, so drug and alcohol services are offered. There's different types of cognitive behavioral therapy being offered, ARTs being offered. They do community service as well. They take the kids out to perform community service, and so they keep them busy in different services. There are group activities, and there's also an opportunity for individual counseling as needed.
So these kids that would otherwise be going to a secure facility?
So these are kids, the kids that we've put in there have been kids that, yes, should be in detention, and we just don't have anywhere to go with them. We've also utilized it for the few kids that we've been able to get into either detention or residential services, and they're transitioning back into the community. And these are kids that are identified as having high need and high risk to the community. And so the intensive services are what we've developed is the best alternative to what we no longer have access to.
Has there been any downfall? Has there been any kids because otherwise these are kids that are involved in the judicial system, right?
Correct.
So if they would have been in a secure lockup and instead they're going to the YAP treatment center, have there been any of them that have caused a problem there?
We have had some issues, yes.
I don't think I have any other questions. Anything else? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Most same sign, so moved.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jeff.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, everybody. We're here today to ask for your authorization to submit a modification to the intermediate punishment grant application. We received a grant of $278,708 to continue intermediate punishment program that letter came in July for the current fiscal year. We're here today to ask for an $8,000 increase in one of the line items to that grant, namely the line item that would pay for the University of Cincinnati Corrections Institute to conduct training to the probation office for probation officers using the Ohio Risk Assessment System, or ORAS, as it's often referred to, a very widely used, effective case management assessment system. When we were putting together the original budget, we calculated $8,000 for a 1 day, well, actually a 2 day training would suffice. We realized now that perhaps a second training might really be more effective and be more practical, and that would really double that particular budget from $8,000 now to $16,000. And we really are asking your approval because I think that we would need that, and then approval from PCCD before University of Cincinnati signs the contract to engage and conduct that training sometime in the new year. So that is really in effect, we're just asking for an $8,000 increase in the consultant line item of the IP budget.
Make a motion to approve the grant modification from 8,000 to 16,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this additional training request through this grant. Any questions regarding the motion? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I forget, modification always comes with a second set of signature pages specifically for Mr. Medley as financial officer. So before I walk out here and forget to give him that, you have the other signature pages too.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Probably even not signature pages. Thank you all very much.
Thanks.
Good morning.
Morning.
This time it's morning.
You got that right. Just introduce yourself and then you're ready to go.
My name is Bob Dowd. I am the Director of the Department of Emergency Services. I'm here this morning, present some change orders and ask the commissioners to accept a grant. And we can do the grant first. I think that's quick. So the grant is the annual Task Force Homeland Security Grant. This is the funding stream that supplies or that funds the entire 9-county task force. All counties sign on to this grant. Total award amount is $202,000. We just need to make a motion. Approve that.
Second,
Can you remind me how old this group has been planning for this grant? Several years.
Early 2000s. Yeah, Schuylkill County just came on board. It used to be 8 counties up until 12 years ago.
so it's Adams, Cumberland, Dauphin, Franklin, Lancaster, Lebanon, Perry, Schuylkill, and York.
Yes.
Any questions for Director Dow? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Next is a change order from L3 Harris. This is a change to the microwave configuration on our system. These were expected when they come out and do the surveys and actually identify the exact parts they need. There's always little changes. Total dollar amount for this change order is $49,663.20. Commission approve that change order.
Second,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this change order. The Public Safety Building, any questions, comments? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Next is a building change order. The general contractor says number 10. Total dollar amount for this change order is $72,408. This is several things. I'll just run down through them real quickly. It was rentals for humidifiers for humidity control over the summer. Some additional work that needed to happen for the tower foundation when that went in. An additional flashing and trim work that needed to get done on the outside of the building when they put the windows in.
I'll make a motion to approve the $72,408 change order required or requested for our DS center.
Second. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Okay, and then the final change order is general contractor change order number 11. Total dollar amount for this is $35,458. All of the items on this were a result of the final paving. There was some changes made to better accommodate snow removal and eliminate future maintenance costs. And then there's an asphalt index increase that was part of this. When you pave, they always charge you whatever the current index is. It's just how business is done. Nothing out of the ordinary here.
Motion,
Motion to approve that change order.
Second,
it's been moved and seconded that we approve this change order. Any questions or comments? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
aye.
Aye. Most same sign, so moved. Just two questions, if I may. Where are we in the change order set aside?
Total contingency that we had built into this project was 1.7 million. So with these two change orders brings us to 806,000 spent. So we're still not even quite halfway. I do expect there to be a couple $100,000 more as we wrap this up, but it's still not from a building construction standpoint, we're in very good shape.
Okay,
Not a budget.
okay. So you see that us being able to live within that set aside. Okay. The other is, do you want to give us an update on the switchgear?
Certainly. It's closer.
Okay, thank
What
you.
it was. Some of our equipment has started to arrive. And when I say some, the pieces that actually think of them as big breakers that sit at the edge of our electrical connection into the building have arrived, which allows us to go through the process of wiring them in and getting commercial power connected to the building. What's still missing is the brains. That's the most important piece, the monitoring control section of that switchgear, which means none of our redundancies will work. We can't automatically switch over the generator or do any of those things until the rest of that arrives. But the silver lining, if there is one, is that the stuff that has arrived allows us to start the process of turning on the building systems like the air conditioning and water and all these systems that need to go through a two-month calibration period so we can get that clock rolling. We're still waiting on a lot of secondary switchgear equipment though, for battery backups and for the secondary building. We still don't have any switchgear equipment. So it's progress. Don't have an ETA on those equipment yet, but at least it allows us to start doing some parallel work.
Is the contractor on site or do we have to get rescheduled?
Oh, no, they're there.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes,
Two things. One is a question on the first change order. Dehumidifiers. I know that was, it says summer humidity. It was also to control that. It was also to draw the moisture out of the construction, so on during that time. So are we done with humidifiers or was this a up to date rental and they're still there and gonna have more? We're gonna have heaters.
So there's heaters that will come shortly. I believe there will be another, this was the majority of the summer. I believe there's going to be another month on top of that.
Yeah.
For the dehumidifiers.
Okay.
They're picked up and gone at this point.
Okay.
But the final bill hasn't come through.
Humidity's down in the winter anyway. I should have answered my own question, but
The primary goal was preventing any sort of overrain.
Yeah.
Building.
yeah, and when they're spackling and so on, there's still moisture in there. The second is, would you just give a quick update on the zoning hearing at Heidelberg Township? We have a sales agreement on a piece of property in Heidelberg for a tower. It was contingent upon zoning approval for a variance.
Yeah. Zoning hearing went very well. We did have the neighbor show up, and the neighbor was supportive of the concept, which was a great thing. Now we're waiting on Stack Back Engineering to make sure that we can get a highway occupancy permit. And as long as that happens, we will come to the board for next steps on that property.
Yeah, we're not quite ready to act on the sales agreement, purchase it until the HOP can be had, hopefully. And that was part of the reason the neighbor was supportive, is that the access to this property line of sight is pretty bad. We would only be going in once a month for maintenance and so on, so not a high use. So hopefully they'll approve that, but the neighbor was concerned that it might be sold and developed for residential, and it's a treacherous in and out back corner. And so they would much rather see it county owned for minimal use and just be a safety issue more than anything.
Yeah, it's a really good use for this property, and that was a big step.
Yeah.
We'll we'll need variances on several other locations that we're working on building as well. This one, I think, was one of the bigger concerns. I don't know where.
Yeah.
There's any real problems.
And the board asked if we'll be putting a light on the top of the tower, and even though it's, I think, 10 feet short of requiring the light, we typically put them on 5 feet short. Yeah. We typically do anyway, and since the California's airport's about 2 miles away, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's just a good practice to light the towers. Yeah, FAA only requires it when you're above 200 feet. A lot of our towers, including this one, 195 feet for that very reason, but we still have them.
I know this is a lot of work to get these, sprinkled around the county, but long-term, it's the best way to go to own the towers and control your costs.
Yeah, putting this capital out allows us to reduce, currently we're paying $200,000 a year in leasing for the towers we're on, so it allows us to reduce that. And it also, there's a potential for revenue stream that helps offset the cost of this entire system to the taxpayer later on, which is leasing out space on towers we own instead of being less units.
No problem.
And these are all tower locations that previously didn't exist?
Yes and no. So some of them have previously existed nearby, but we're leasing space and we're trying to get away from that.
Right.
Some of them are new. So our current system is a 10 tower system. We're moving to a 13 tower system. So there are a few that are designed to help fix some deficits or some shortfalls in our current.
And coverage, typically coverage required is 95%, 95% of the time.
Yeah.
Which we meet, but it's always nice to enhance that if you can, and mainly building penetration is the issue. Just learning as I go.
Yeah, the system is designed, excuse me, to achieve 95% mobile coverage countywide, which is mobile as in a vehicle. One exception to that, we basically cut off everything north of the Appalachian Trail. There's no population there. We would need an additional 4 towers to cover that area. It's just prohibitively expensive.
Yeah, the last few percent are the most expensive, yeah.
And the solution to that is part of this project included a new mobile command post with a small tower that we will drive out there, put the tower up, and if there is an incident that requires communication, we can still solve it, but it didn't make sense to build towers. So 95% of everything was without that exclusionary. In building coverage is always the difficult thing to achieve. You could build a 2,000-foot tower in the center of the county that could talk out. But the portable radio that's on somebody's hip inside a vehicle has much lower transmit power, needs to be able to get to a tower nearby. So that's why we need so many towers. We're not just a broadcast, it's the talk back that's the issue.
And it's not that we're not covering people that live up north of the Appalachian Trail.
No,
It's like Sally.
Yeah, you got you covered that. No, and the radios work out there, it just doesn't work on our system. So we take that mobile command unit out there, mobile communications unit, and we can now patch it back into our system over satellite or any number of different ways. So the solution is there. It just didn't make financial sense to spend $500,000 per tower to cover an area where there's no calls.
So is that mobile command unit, is that a new acquisition for the county?
It's a replacement, yeah. Yeah, it's being built at 911 response.
Your deadline, excuse me, Bob, your deadline's still end of 24 to finish this project.
Yeah.
It hasn't been pushed back.
Hasn't shifted yet.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Some guests, sorry.
You can want to go down at the end.
Whatever.
I don't know.
With the voter people.
What?
They have the super voter people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. They're here for interviews from the press thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Are you just waiting for the press to come and you're filling in here? Or did you want to talk?
Ready for our next interview.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. Good to see you again.
It'll be
Welcome.
coming shortly. All right, Jamie.
All right, I have 4 things. First is hotel tax grant fund application from Music at Gretna, doing business as Gretna Music. And they are requesting $5,000 grant toward Gretna Music's 2024 summer season for out-of-county marketing. be held at the Gretna Playhouse. Their total project cost for their summer program is $444,366. They're requesting $5,000 toward that advertising.
I'll make
We'll approve that request.
second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded and certainly very aggressive advertising program to bring folks into Lebanon County. Any questions regarding this motion? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Post same sign, so moved.
Some appointments to the MHIDEI Advisory Board. Have two nominations from their nominating committee to reappoint for additional 3-year terms. Dr. Joseph Barber and Reverend Dennis Scalise. These terms would end 12/31/2026.
I'll make a motion to appoint Dr. Joseph Barber and Reverend Dennis Scalise to the mental health board.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve those appointments. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Post same sign, so moved.
I have two exemption requests. One was just added here right before the meeting, but that we need the letter to all of the requirements here on that criteria. These are exemption requests for distinguished veterans qualifying for the program for real estate tax abatement, and they are Robert Byron of Acorn Court, Lebanon, and Michael Miller of North Center Street, Lebanon.
Motion to approve those exemptions.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the exemptions for property tax for those disabled veterans. Any questions or comments? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Post same sign, so moved.
And lastly, I have a request to submit for a grant from our insurance carrier, Pennsylvania County Risk Pool. As you know, they provide loss control grants to all the member counties of the program each year, up to $30,000. And those projects are intended to somehow reduce liability, identify things and costs of things and products in some cases that will reduce our liability and for loss control and risk control. So in this case, the safety committee is recommending the purchase to apply for the purchase of 3 all-purpose sport mats for the probation department. These are mats that they use to practice and train on defensive tactics as well as other trainings, and thereby reducing the risk of injury both in incidents and during training. These mats are $281 a piece. They'd like 3 of them. So with the cost and shipping, it's $1,054.91, and are seeking your approval to submit that.
Make a motion to approve a
$54.91.
grant to the insurance risk pool for reimbursement of mats.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Jamie, what's the balance in that, or is there?
Oh, we're just starting, so we probably have 20,
Oh, okay.
28,000 change.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so as we go through safety committees each month, sometimes a department will bring up a request. And sometimes at the end, we're left and we're kind of coming up with projects. Yeah.
Very good. Any questions? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Post same sign, so moved.
And that's, by the way, that's May to June is the insurance year. So it's not end of the calendar year. Yeah, we have until the end of May.
Anything from the floor? Motion to adjourn?
Second.